The $95 billion lingerie market is absolutely taking over Shopify. And in today's video, I want to dissect one of the best brands on Shopify in this category called Lounge. I want to look at their ads. I want to look at the broader market opportunity and even show you some sourcing options so that you could potentially start a brand in this category. Now, let's get right into it. As you see, Lounge is driving a ton of traffic. So they're getting nearly 2 million monthly visitors and from all over the world, from the UK, from the US, from Germany, from Australia, from the Netherlands, literally everywhere. So they have a global presence online. Their store is selling 24/7 all over the world, which is one of the coolest things about Shopify is that it's literally open 24/7 and accessible all around the world. So that's their traffic. Now, the overall market, as you see, is valued at 94 billion, and that's in 2024. It's expected to almost double to 165 billion by 2033. And by the way, just as a quick disclaimer, traffic estimates, market size estimates, these are all just numbers, right? These are all estimates. Nothing is set in stone. They could be doing a lot more traffic than we estimate based on the data that we can gather. They could be doing less, right? It really is impossible to know unless you actually have access to their analytics. So just a quick disclaimer, none of this is entirely 100% accurate. We're just using these things, these pieces of data as baselines to make decisions off of and draw a little bit more informed opinions. So that's the market, right? It's absolutely massive, and there's a lot of different categories within that market. So there is, loungewear, there is specific lingerie, there's a spectrum of lingerie where some of it is more sexual, some of it is, not very sexual, it's just comfy. There's a lot of different opportunities within this market. Now, if we take a look at some of the ads that these guys are running, so first of all, I want to look at the ads in the lingerie space in general. So let's take a look super quick, and we can see there's, like I mentioned, there's a lot of different categories. So even just here with a quick search, we can see there's even, for example, this brand that I just saw called The Perfect Corset NY, and they are running a decent amount of ads. So we can actually take a look here in their Facebook ads library, which everybody can access. It's absolutely free. Meta is actually legally required to show you all the ads, all the active ads from brands that are running ads on their platform. And this specific brand, as you see, is running 660 different ads. They are going crazy. So they're selling so many different things. But one of their main winning products, as you see, is this corset. And if we take a look at the product, you can see the product page is really pretty simple. It's just reviews, some relevant other products that people can buy or pair it with, and that's about it. And that's kind of the thing about this niche is that the pictures sell the product more. So you don't need a super elaborate landing page to do well in this niche. And that's made pretty apparent by this brand as well, Lounge, which if we actually look at their estimated revenue too, so we looked at the traffic and like I said, it's about 2 million monthly visitors, but I'll tell you right now, that usually means they're doing about $5 to $10 million a month. On average, you can expect a 1-to-3 or 1-to-4 ratio of visitors to sales. And I can even show you on one of my stores, for example. I'll try to show you here without leaking it that this is accurate actually. So let me show you, for example, the last 30 days on this one store that we started. I'll try not to leak it. It's kind of hard to see. Oh man. Okay. Well, I'll just tell you the numbers. It's $166,000 in the last 30 days, and the traffic is 50,000 visitors. So 1-to-3 ish visitor to sales ratio. So hopefully that makes sense. That's how we estimate it. And actually, we do have a little bit of information here that tells us in 2023, they did approximately $70 million. Now, that was 2023. We're in 2025, which is one of the biggest e-commerce years of all time. So we can definitely estimate that they are probably above 100 million. That's my guess. Now, if we take a look at some of their specific ads, so now I want to look at their ads specifically, not the overall market. Although, like I said, it's pretty interesting that in this market, there's really all kinds of ads being ran in here. Some of them less risky than others. Some of them, kind of simpler than others. This is another big brand actually in the category. It's called She Curve. And I've actually seen these guys for a long time. They've been scaling like crazy for a while, and it's more or less, a pretty simple store. Let's actually look at their web analytics here if it loads. So yeah, they've kind of followed this same exact pattern, which is really interesting. As Lounge, if we take a look, right, you see kind of a dips in September. I guess September is a slow month for the lingerie market, but you can see this brand has a little bit of a more elaborate landing page. It's more of what I would call like a drop shipping, like branded drop shipping structure, which funny enough is actually one of the most effective structures out there. But let's compare it with Lounge, right, which is a super well established brand. You can see theirs is a lot more minimal, super simple, very refined and clean. So I'll just be honest, and this is the same thing that I'm mentioning to all the mentees and students that we have inside our accelerator. I would actually go and copy, if you're going to copy anything or take inspiration from anything, I would copy, of course, Lounge as opposed to something like SheCurve, because this is what everybody in the dropshipping space is doing. They're not really aiming to necessarily build a brand. They're just kind of trying to pump and dump a product, which I think is a terrible strategy. Of course, you can make a little bit of money doing that, but in reality, most of the money in e-commerce is made by building a brand where people actually come back to shop again and again. Now, believe it or not, you can actually do that just by simply adding more products to your store. And that's where, the next step comes in, which is actually finding products like this. I went ahead and looked up on Team Drop itself, just a lot of interesting lingerie products. Some of these are a little too risky, I would say, for Shopify and for Meta, so I would probably avoid those. But interestingly enough, like I said, there's a lot of sub niches in this. For example, like there's an anime kind of lingerie niche, which you would never really expect. So there's a lot of sub niches, and then of course on Alibaba too. See, interestingly enough, for this they do make sure that you're over 18. So that's the only downside of this category, is that you will experience a lot more backlash, or a lot more, backlash maybe isn't the right word, but just restrictions. There's a lot more sensitive content here, so you have to be careful with that. But clearly, you can still get around that. There's plenty of brands that are running tons of ads, like I said, a lot of different brands. But let me show you on Alibaba some examples of interesting lingerie. So this one's kind of cool. It's eye-catching. It looks beautiful. And those are the kind of products that I would look to sell if I was in this market. I would look to sell products that are very eye-catching, unique, and that are, of course, high quality. This one seems high quality and really nice. And what you can do is actually, if you wanted to source something like this without necessarily ordering a ton of inventory, if you wanted to test it really, really lean, what you can do is, take a screenshot of this and then go to the ShopeeLab.ai platform, absolutely free. Then go to ShopeeLab sourcing and then click on Team Drop. And then you can make a free account on Team Drop. And on here, what you're going to do is contact the Team Drop team through WhatsApp. Now, if you went through the ShopeeLab platform to do this, you're going to get priority agent access. So you'll literally get your own sourcing agent that can help you source products, customize them, brand them, whatever you need. And they're super great, honestly. They're so nice. So make sure you do that if you're looking for something like this. But Alibaba is actually a great place to do product research. You can find a lot of really great products here, some really unique ones. Like I mentioned, I would go for the less risky ones, and that's just me personally. You can, of course, go ahead and do whatever you want, but like products like these actually look super nice. I like these. Now, let's take a look more deeply at their specific ads, right? So this is loungewear specifically, and the ads that they're running. Now, interestingly enough, they're running ads all over the world. Even in, I believe this is Hong Kong, right? I think that's a Hong Kong currency. I'm not really sure, but they have these really aesthetically pleasing ads that are so simple. So it's just, for example, a model wearing some of the lingerie, and then it just says it's just 25 pounds or euros. That's super cheap, right? For some high quality loungewear. So what you can do here is we can see, so this one's leading straight to the product page. It's not leading to a collection page. And let me actually see the fabric. That's one thing I'm also curious about. So 52% polyamide and recycled polyamide. So that's another thing you can do is when you go and source a product like this, let's say you went through ShopeeLab.ai, you went to the sourcing tab. Again, that's 100% free. You can talk to your special sourcing agent and actually ask her to try to find you products with a similar composition. That way you know that you're selling quality products. Now, let's continue with their ads. So let me see, I got so many tabs. So yeah, these ads are a very classic kind of ad that they're running, and they're running these everywhere. So they're running these in Germany, like I said, in Denmark, in Netherlands, in the UK, in the US. They're running them everywhere. And yeah, it's a lot of the same kinds of ads. You know what? I'm actually just going to go to the Facebook ad library here to just see how many active ads they are running. And this is only in the US. They have 46 different active ads in the US alone. And they're very simple. I actually like that they run these simple ads because it makes me feel like if you started a brand in this, that you could actually replicate a lot of these ads, because you can actually make very similar styles with AI these days. And, there's still not really a lot of regulation when it comes to what you can do with AI. So I'm not saying, to try to defraud people or deceive them, but you can make really nice studio shots with your exact products with AI. So keep that in mind. And they're just running really strong offers, like up to 70% off. They're really going hard at the Black Friday sale, which is pretty smart that they just started this up. I'm starting up the sale today as well for a variety of my stores. And a lot of our clients at our agency, Akemi, they've also begun to run their Black Friday ads. I don't really know any brands that are waiting actually for Black Friday to run their Black Friday ads, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, so that's kind of their ads. A lot of UGC, very clean aesthetics, just very simple, clear wording that's like aesthetically pleasing. I showed you kind of where you can source it. So lastly, I guess, let me know if you have any questions about this niche. I found it quite interesting. I saw, this brand is massive. They got 3.6 million followers. Like, they are huge. They work with some of the biggest top models in the world. So, don't think that you're going to be able to build something like this right away. You're going to have to be crafty. You're going to have to differentiate in some way. But you have a great example here of somebody that's paving the way in terms of offers, in terms of ads, in terms of design, composition, like I said, product development. So there's a lot of things that you can take away from this video. Make sure you save it and just kind of follow what I mentioned to build your own stuff. And of course, if you want help building something like this, if you want help starting it up, apply to our accelerator. We're building an accelerator inside Shopee Lab to not only give you, all the tools that you need to succeed, but also give you the guidance and mentorship that you need. I have my agency team in there. We have the director of marketing at one of the top e-commerce brands in there, director of operations, I mean. And there's a lot of really interesting people as well as myself. So make sure you join. Also, this is the place where I'm looking to invest the most in terms of, investing in e-commerce brands. I want to invest more in brands that are inside our accelerator than anything else, because I know those people are very committed. I know that they have access to the best tools in the industry. And yeah, that's about it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.